And earlier we saw a representative for businesses and citizens in Ottawa say that the convoy harmed them enormously. What do you have to say to those claims?
Well, there were businesses that were harmed because the government ordered them closed. And there was no good reason for that. The businesses that stayed open, particularly restaurants and food service businesses, will tell you, and they've testified, and we have affidavits from them, that it was the most remarkable and profitable experience that they'd had in decades and helped them recover and avoid bankruptcy from the 2 years of government mandates.
In its bid to portray the Freedom Convoy in a negative light, and on the heels of a mainstream media smear campaign that alleged downtown Ottawa businesses were losing millions of dollars a day, the federal government basically begged those same small businesses to take compensation money, but how much of it was actually utilized? Tamara Ugolini here with Rebel News, and well, we're the largest independent media outlet in Canada that doesn't take a penny from the Justin Trudeau Liberals to do their broadcast bidding. Now, some of you may recall the fateful day on February the 14th when Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau essentially ushered in martial law through the Emergency Measures Act to squash a peaceful 3-week-long protest that saw him cower into hiding under the guise of a COVID-19 infection, despite being at least double, if not triple, vaccinated at the time.
The federal government has invoked the Emergencies Act to supplement provincial and territorial capacity to address the blockades and occupations.
It's a decision that his government will face scrutiny of later this week, and we will be there on the ground to bring you honest reporting without fear of biting the hand that feeds, like the mainstreamists. You can follow along and help fund our coverage of the Public Order Emergency Commission at truckercommission.com. But first, I want to take you back to March 2022, when CBC News ran this article a few days after the trampling of an Indigenous elder, the canister shooting of my colleague Alexa Lavoie, and the general jackboots militant-style shutdown of the freedom-loving Canadian truckers and their supporters. Well, the federal government pledged a $20 million grant to Ottawa businesses allegedly shuttered by what they continually refer to as an illegal blockade. It would see businesses eligible for up to $10,000 in compensation, a program that was being run by Invest Ottawa, which is a WEF, a World Economic Forum partnered organization, by the way. A few weeks after the original announcement on March 4th, the Ontario government sent an additional $11.5 million to Ottawa for post-convoy business and tourism. To further reinforce the narrative that this convoy devastated the downtown core instead of, fed the homeless, reduced crime, and kept the streets tidier than they had been in years, the CBC ran yet another article on March 11th alleging that the Freedom Convoy cost downtown Ottawa millions per day. And of course, this is based on an expert estimate. Well, it turns out that the CBC may just be recruiting experts that embellish stories for the state broadcaster's own political gain, or rather the gain of their boss, Justin Trudeau, and his cabinet. This is evidenced by the fact that these millions of dollars, a substantial $21.5 million total between the federal and provincial governments, are not being entirely utilized. As originally reported by Blacklock's reporter, we have now obtained the access to information request documents sourced in that article. You can help support this kind of investigative journalism to ensure we give you accurate, vetted facts at rebelinvestigates.com. Now, we know, as per the Federal Economic Development Agency, that's the agency tasked with allocating these funds, that they opened the subsidy program up for submissions on March 15th. The ATIP shows that someone whose name has been redacted from Invest Ottawa emailed government officials on April 25th, noting that the deadline was extended from April 30th to May 15th. They had the program translated to Arabic, Vietnamese, and simple Chinese, I guess that's also Mandarin, to bolster on-the-ground promotion and business engagement as agents go door to door to boost awareness. They also secured 2 spots on CTV News the following day because, well, there's those state broadcasters hard at work. Michael Tremblay and Michelle Grohl were the receivers of such honorable coverage, where they encouraged businesses to apply on air because nothing says no pressure like a camera in your face live on air. Oh, and then of course they vow to share it all on social media and tag FedDev Ontario and the Government of Ontario. Not at all coordinated or orchestrated. However, it appeared to be a slightly effective program and promotion. The snapshot of the program that day saw 1,327 applications received, 588 were approved, and 313 reimbursed for a grand total of $3,588,576. On May 16th, it seems like Invest Ottawa was still semi-scrambling to meet targets as they had to await on their partner to refresh the data from the final weekend of applications before providing an update. That update finally came on June the 1st. The email says that note the number of applications changed slightly. The final snapshot on June 8th shows that there were 1,561 applications received, so 4 more than what was likely applied to before the May 15th cutoff, which brought the total amount received per business to an increased amount of $11,121 per applicant. And of the applicants, 1,127 had been reimbursed at that time for a grand total of $12,953,970. After extending deadlines, using propagandist tools, and hounding eligible businesses by phone to complete their applications.
And earlier we saw a representative for businesses and citizens in Ottawa say that the convoy harmed them enormously. What do you have to say to those claims?
Well, there were businesses that were harmed because the government ordered them closed. And there was no good reason for that. The businesses that stayed open, particularly restaurants and food service businesses, will tell you, and they've testified, and we have affidavits from them, that it was the most remarkable and profitable experience that they'd had in decades and helped them recover and avoid bankruptcy from the 2 years of government mandates.
Now, the inquiry into the use and justification of the Emergency Measures Act, that's the EMA, will begin on October 13th. And, well, are you going to go to the same state broadcasters doing the political science of Canadian politicians who have graduated from the World Economic Forum's Young Global Leaders program? Of course not, because nothing was more stark in contrast than what the mainstream media was reporting about the convoy versus what the real-time live streams were showing. To be in the know with factual, on-the-ground reporting that speaks truth to power so that the Liberals cannot rewrite history with the help of their media lapdogs, follow our reports at truckercommission.com. For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini. Here at Rebel News, we have launched a special project to cover the Trucker Commission every single day. We've set up a temporary studio in Ottawa for the duration of the inquiry, which means that some of us may be there for the full 45 days. Some of us will be there only for a few days or weeks. We're not sure, but regardless, we have set up a field office and living space for our team to be in the heart of the action, just like we were during the Freedom Convoy in January and February. You can find out all of the details at truckercommission.com. And of course, thanks to this temporary office, we will have journalists, editors, and videographers on the ground bringing you the other side of the story every single day. If you believe that this style of on-the-ground journalism is essential for Rebel News to bring you the other side of the story on this important inquiry into the worst civil liberties violations in our lifetime, please consider chipping in at truckercommission.com. I'm looking forward to it.